This week on Soundbites, it's breakfast time. I'm Chris Herrington, and I'm joined again by Digital Director Holly Whitfield. Though it is lunchtime as we record here on the 10th floor of Crosstown Concourse, we're going to be talking breakfast today. But first, you can find all of our food stories and this show in podcast form at dailymemphian.com, or you can also sign up for our This Week in Food email. You can also catch Soundbites Thursdays at 11 a.m. left of the dial at 91.7 WYXR, your Crosstown radio, which broadcasts from right here in the building. And you can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your audio. If you're a Facebook user, we encourage you to join our Table Talk group there as well. What's up, Holly?
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well. You mentioned it was lunchtime, but I've not had lunch.
I have not had lunch either.
And so we're both going to be hungry.
30 minutes from now, we will be even more hungry.
Exactly.
So before we get into our breakfast topic today, I'm going to shout out a couple of local restaurants I ate at over the weekend.
Yeah.
My daughter was in town from college, a brief trip home for a long weekend, and we hit some family faves. Friday night, Saturday night, I can't remember. I think Friday night. Friday night, my daughter and my son and I ate actually in the rest. This was a rare occasion. We actually sat down inside and ate at Golden India. We've been doing Golden India takeout probably twice a month for the last 10 years. So it's very my kids really associate Golden India takeout with home, I think. But we went and sat in the restaurant, my daughter and my son, which I don't remember the last time I actually went inside and sat down instead of getting takeout. It was quite good. And I got to say, unsurprisingly, the bread is much better when you get it fresh from the kitchen instead of carting it home.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So shout out to Golden India. And then on Sunday night, we met up with my parents, my daughter's grandparents and one of her uncles at Queen of Sheba Imperial Restaurant.
Yeah.
The bigger location which opened a year or two ago on Germantown Parkway, a bigger location of a Yemeni restaurant whose original location is on Summer. And man, that's good. If you haven't been out there, and it was hopping on a Sunday night. I was surprised. It was all the tables were full. They have this little juice bar inside. People were coming in just for the juice and lined up getting the juice. And it was a total scene on Sunday night at Queen of Sheba Imperial Restaurant. I can't recommend enough the Hanith, hope I pronounced that correctly, the Hanith dishes, Haneeth, both lamb and chicken, roasted on bone, very tender, served with a fragrant yellow rice and vegetables. One of my favorite dishes in town. So I'm going to give a shout out to Golden India and Queen of Sheba for treating my family right this past weekend.
That sounds delicious. I tried a new restaurant 2 weekends ago. I meant to mention last week, and we got totally wrapped up in Super Bowl. But I went to Local Lime in Germantown because we went to a couple of places first, and it was Sunday night and Super Bowl, and a lot of places were closed.
This is in Germantown, correct?
It's in Germantown. It's in Saddle Creek. We tried to go Babalu because they were, I don't know why, we were hungry. It was time. They were closed, but we went over there to Local Lime, and we got every taco on the menu, I think, one of every taco, and it was really good. It was excellent. I mean, I think all of them were tasty. There was maybe I would skip the carnitas just because it wasn't anything that you couldn't get anywhere else, but It was good stuff. And the 3 salsas were great. The margarita was great. I won't say I was surprised, but it was just a step above what I was even hoping for. So I know that's kind of like a mini regional chain. There's a couple other places, but good find in Germantown.
I noted when it opened. We wrote about it when it opened, and I sort of forgot about that place. I got to add it back to my list. But breakfast. I assume they do not have breakfast at Local Lime.
I don't think so. Nope.
As far as I know, there's no breakfast at Golden India or Queen of Sheba either, but I could be wrong about that.
Some breakfast items on that list.
At Queen of Sheba? Natalie's chiming in. That could be. I've not tried to do that myself. That's worth investigating too. But breakfast we're talking about today, Christin Yates has a story for us at thedailymemphian.com highlighting 10 local restaurants that are particularly breakfast oriented. And we're not going to get too much into detail on the ones she wrote about, although we might a little bit, but I'll list them off in alphabetical order. She highlighted the Arcade Restaurant, Belly Acres, Big Bad Breakfast, Biscuits and Jam, Brother Juniper's, Bryant's Breakfast, Exactly Breakfast and Deli, Garden Brunch Cafe, Pancake Shop, and Sunrise Memphis. I have eaten at, I think, 8 of these restaurants, but I've only eaten breakfast at 7 of them. So Holly Whitfield, among those 10, before we get off into other places, among those 10, like what's one that you are more likely to go to or that you're a particular fan of? And what is one that you have not made it out to that you want to make it out to?
I really like Sunrise. Though I haven't been in a long time. And I do like Bryant's. My family came in town a couple of months ago and we went to Bryant's and I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's just regular breakfast. But it was just like really well done, homey style. So I like that. But, I have not been to Garden Brunch Cafe, which is downtown. I have not been there and I would like to go.
Garden Brunch Cafe is also my pick on the place I want to try. That's in the former Rizzo's Diner there in South Main, which is close to the former Daily Memphian offices. We'll see where we end up again. For regular listeners will know that our offices flooded a few weeks ago, so we're sort of in limbo at the moment. Sunrise is also one of my go-tos, one of my favorites. I used to go to Sunrise a lot more frequently when the original Daily, this was before your time in the Daily Memphian, but the original Daily Memphis and Daily Memphian offices were in the north end of downtown. In the Crane building, sort of near downtown elementary school. And so I would typically, because I live on the north end of Midtown, I would often be going down, Jefferson or North Parkway or whatever. And I would sometimes hit up Sunrise some days when I would go into the office. I really like the, do they call it the bibimbap breakfast? The bibimbap bowl?
Yes.
With the pork and the egg and the rice,
that hits
rice.
The spot sometimes.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, something different.
So I've actually not eaten at the Big Bad Breakfast location in Memphis. I've tried twice, and both times it was like a 90-minute wait.
Right.
But I've eaten at Big Bad Breakfast in other places, Birmingham in particular. It's quite good.
Yeah, it has a lot of hype. I remember. Do you remember there was like a false announcement, like a false alarm that there was going to be a Big Bad Breakfast in Cooper Young?
I sure do.
Remember that? And like, I don't remember where that came from.
Part of the announcement was insulting. I remember that.
Yes. It was like, we're going to give y'all something good here in Cooper Young for brunch, but I can't confirm
that was one of those things that, like, real estate stuff leaks out and like it often may or may not happen. And
yeah.
So things get discussed or reported.
Context gets
more
lost.
Discussed than reported.
Yeah.
Before things actually come through. So when you went to Bryant's is a place I need to get back to because it's been a long time. It's a classic Memphis place. I've not been there in a long time. My thing with Bryant's is always it's too popular to go to,
I feel that, yeah.
Was I know it moves quick, but still like the whole standing in line thing, I'm not as into in the mornings.
That was sort of our exact experience. It was packed. And I mean, as we were like walking up to the door from where we had to park 2 parking lots over, like the line was growing rapidly as we were walking. It like makes you want to walk faster. But it really just didn't take very long. It just didn't take long at all to go through. It took a minute, I guess, to get our food, but we went on a Sunday morning at like 10 o'clock, like the worst possible, or like 9 o'clock, like the worst possible time. But it was still fine. And everything was like fresh and hot and very, very plentiful. So normally a place like that, I would follow my like brother Juniper's rule, which is like only go on a weekday. Right. I'm just not going to go on the weekend unless I have family in town and just let the crowds fight over the pancakes themselves.
So beyond these 10 places, what are either some of your favorite breakfast spots in Memphis or what are sort of regular rotation breakfast spots for you?
The only place that really is a regular rotation that's not on this list is Barksdale's.
Yep, that's on my list.
I have sung the praises of many times. I just think
Bob's Barksdale Restaurant in Cooper,
Barksdale. Mm-hmm.
Sort of between Overton Square and Cooper Young for people who haven't been there.
Yes, it's just great. It's just really homey. I've been going there the whole time I've lived in Memphis.
Yep.
The food tastes just perfectly fine to me. It's not gonna like, blow your hair back if you need like the super gourmet whatever.
This is a cup of coffee and a plain like white porcelain mug.
Yes.
It is wood paneling and Formica tables.
Shreddy hash browns.
Biscuits and gravy.
Just little fluffy biscuits. but they're fluffy. You know,
Yeah.
they're not trying too hard, and they
The thing at
execute
Barksdale
well.
that I've written about before, I don't think it was a $10 deal because it's more than $10. It was some other series we were doing, like Favorite Things or whatever. But I sang the praises of the country ham and gravy, country ham and red eye gravy, particularly at Bob's Barksdale Restaurant. It's a Memphis classic to me. So any other places you would highlight or that you hit up?
I really like Elwood's. I don't make the time to go out there and get a debris biscuit or
I have not
thing.
been.
Yeah.
You're talking about the new Elwoods on Park?
Well,
Or the
I don't really make the time to go to either because it is quite a heavy
Do
breakfast.
they have breakfast at the original Elwoods?
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't even know.
Oh, yeah. They got that pimento cheese 7-Up biscuit with bacon on it.
I've been meaning to go to the new Elwoods for breakfast because I've been there for lunch a couple times and I've noticed the breakfast menu and I thought, okay, I need to. It's a little bit more spacious than the original Elwoods, so I need to check that out for breakfast sometime.
Yeah, there's a bunch of places I could mention, but that might get into is it brunch or is it breakfast debate.
Right.
I don't know if we're prepared for that today, but I kind of feel like if it's open before 9 o'clock, it can be breakfast. So there's a couple spots that fulfill that weren't on this list.
I'll throw out a few more places. I had
Yeah.
Bob's Barksdale on my. I jotted down 5 places that are sort of more my kind of places. Bob's Barksdale was one of them. The last place I don't eat out for breakfast all that often. For me, breakfast is more of a home cooking kind of thing. The last time I went out for breakfast that wasn't just solo or whatever was when my mother-in-law was in town and we ate breakfast at the liquor store, the original liquor store on Broad. That's a good breakfast restaurant, both locations of the liquor store. It's not a fully breakfast restaurant, but it's very breakfast oriented.
You can go either direction, I feel like, on a more of a brunchy thing and get a drink or just stick with your breakfast
But they have
platter.
good basic breakfast stuff and they also have breakfast tacos and whatever.
Oh, that's right.
The place I've eaten breakfast at the most frequently in the last 15, 20 years or whatever, and it's not even remotely close, is Cafe Eclectic because that is my neighborhood restaurant.
Right.
Shout out to Pookie's Pancakes. I've eaten many a Pookie's pancake in my time. Eaten many an omelet, whatever the omelet is with the sausage and the spinach and the white cheese. I eat that a lot. That's my neighborhood spot. And I really love Mexican breakfast stuff.
Me too.
So the 2 places I'll shout out there, one more recently, I wrote about last year, a new place I wrote about last year. That's Lapa Lapa, which is from the same people who brought you La Guadalupana. It's in a converted Waffle House out on Summer, pretty far out east. And they have, in addition to the regular, chilaquiles and breakfast burrito and stuff like that, they do omelets and they do, I think you can also get pancakes and stuff like that, which I don't do, but I'll get the omelets and the chilaquiles there. That's a real breakfast kind of place. But my real favorite, I think, is, and forgive me if I butcher pronunciation, it's Caminos de Michoacan on Macon Road, which is a Mexican restaurant / bakery. And the bakery stuff is great, but to me, the bakery stuff is the visual accompaniment to the eggs and chorizo and potatoes and that kind of breakfast stuff that I like to have there.
I like Cafe Eclectic too. I feel like because it is your neighborhood, you go there probably during the week.
Yeah.
Because on the weekends, that place is
I do not go there weekend mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've made that.
It's very popular.
Mistake. And I say mistake only just because it's so busy. It's good. I do want to shout out By the Brewery.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think of them for lunch and brunch, which we definitely did in our former Daily Memphian offices. But they do open up, I think, around 8. And they got all the breakfast stuff. They got biscuit sandwiches that are serious. So I like that. Did we mention the one that off mic Natalie wanted us to mention?
Oh, 3 Little Pigs.
3 Little Pigs.
Natalie does not have a microphone, wants a shout out.
She's pantomiming pigs over
her neck
here.
of the woods. It's pretty close to where you live. It's in the vicinity. It's walking
nice.
distance? Okay. Long walk. Okay. A nice walk. The 3 Little Pigs, where you slam down some sausage and biscuits, right? Is that what you order? And gravy. Sausage,
and they have 2 kinds of ham that you can choose from: is city ham and country ham. Is that right?
And country ham.
Yeah.
Country ham is saltier, right? Chewier. Yes. Interesting. You don't see that distinction made a lot of places these days. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good one too. It probably deserves a little more love. I mean, I appreciate something that's just like fast and done well, and
so
it's going to be the same every time. Also,
right.
is something maybe you're looking for in the morning.
I need to do that. Because I do find myself in that part of town in the mornings once or twice a week, because I do radio. Regular listeners may or may not know. I do radio every morning on the Jeff Calkins Show at 10 a.m. And the studio on the local ESPN radio affiliate, the studio is very near there. And so once or twice a week, if I have other errands to run or it fits in my day, I'll go in studio. I much prefer to do it in studio. I much prefer having a conversation with someone where I can see them, like me and you sitting here, than doing it on the phone.
It's superior. In person is superior.
It doesn't make sense. I can't do it every day. It's a 20-minute segment. I can't drive out there for a 20-minute segment every day. But if I have other reasons to be out east, I'll try to drop in studio. And so someday soon, when I'm doing that, I'm going to drop into Three Little Pigs. I'm going to do it. So breakfast debates, where I was thinking about various breakfast debates. There are many we can get into. We got about 14 minutes left. I sense you have feelings on brunch versus breakfast.
I don't know that I have feelings on necessarily which one is superior. I know
is there a difference other than time? I guess menu changes a little bit if you're calling yourself brunch.
Well, that's where my feelings kind of come in. I definitely think you can have...
And brunch is only weekend, whereas breakfast is every day.
I'm going to say no on that. I think it's nice to have a brunch on a weekday, and when I go to other cities and I'm on vacation and I want to have a brunch on a Thursday, I can. So that's nice. But I understand that's sort of not an everyday situation. I think it's more like if it goes beyond your 6 or 7 breakfast staples, your biscuit, your eggs, your bacon, sausage, hash brown, and you have a little something more to it and you have drinks, then it can become brunch. You can eat breakfast food during the brunch time. You can also eat like a sandwich and French fries during the brunch time.
Now this is key. If there's a sandwich available to you, you're having brunch. Regardless of what you're eating, if you can order a sandwich, you're having brunch.
Yeah.
If you can order alcohol, you're having brunch.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. You can do like I do at Magnolia and May and get breakfast tacos with fries because you got to live your best life sometimes.
Right.
And that's definitely
underrated
brunch.
Combo, tacos and fries.
It's just, and the way that they're doing
common.
it.
I agree.
Yeah. The way that their tacos are, it's like American cheese in between 2 corn tortillas with the breakfast stuff. So it's already like just leaning into the full Americanized thing. Yeah, that's how I know there's like people are really, really into brunch. And then there's also the brunch backlash, like most famously like from Anthony Bourdain.
Is brunch considered too bougie? What's the backlash?
I think it's considered too bougie, or it's considered like I can make eggs at home. And I'm like, well, technically that's breakfast. But I mean, again, like Anthony Bourdain was like brunch is like what restaurants do to like get rid of all their stuff when they're like going down.
I have a lot of respect for Anthony Bourdain. I've read Kitchen Confidential twice. The thing about Bourdain stuff, he's talking about high-end New York restaurants.
Exactly.
So every time he says this is why you don't order this on this night. We don't have fish markets in Memphis that people are walking down to. The rules don't apply.
I think that's a really good point to make.
Yeah.
I mean, when I read that or think that, I'm kind of like, let me just eat some food and maybe have a little like grapefruit juice and sparkly at noon on a Sunday, and I'm not worried about it, like what it means for society.
So my associations are brunch is an inherently social event.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Right.
breakfast is like could be anything because you need to eat. Mm-hmm. Breakfast could still be social, but brunch isn't inherently a social meetup kind of thing to me. Or you're going with someone to be social.
I like that. Yeah.
And I also associate brunch with waits and crowds.
True.
Which I'm not into as much.
I think that's what people are saying when they're like, I can make eggs at home, and like they just like constitutionally they constitutionally like
Natalie
don't
says.
Want to go and deal with all of that. That's fair. Yeah.
I would say I don't have brunch very often. And it's not because I have eggs at home, but it is because I'm not, it's too much hassle for me.
Fair enough. I think that's very reasonable. You probably also can whip up something pretty good at home.
I actually cook. We'll get into this in some of our other debates, but I cook pancakes at least one day every weekend now for my son because he will eat it, and that is a thing we do now. Weekday breakfast. Do we eat weekday breakfast? Do we eat breakfast today? Let's talk about today.
Today I ate 2 pieces of toast with butter. It's a really small loaf. I don't know what is happening to loaves of bread, but it's just really small. It's like as big as my hand.
Right.
And so I ate 2 pieces of toast. I feel like I eat breakfast about half of the time. If I wake up and I'm hungry, I eat breakfast. And sometimes I'm not. It's as simple as that for me.
So yeah. I am, at the moment, we don't have to get into the details, although I probably have in previous pods, maybe people know or whatever. At the moment, this is a temporary situation, not a permanent situation. I'm solo parenting at the moment. Mm-hmm. So I have to get up. And I have not gotten used to having to get up and take the kid to school. My wife previously would do that because they were both going to the same place. They were both going to the same campus for work and school. But now I have to do it. So I have to get up early enough to deal with the dogs and to get my son to school and all of this.
It's a lot, yeah.
And I don't have time to feed if I feel actual hunger, then I will maybe have a quick bowl of cereal and a piece of toast. Most of the time I'm not eating anything at home because I'm having to leave the house before 7:30 every morning. So, but most days I'm ending up at a coffee shop to start my day. And so most days my breakfast is just an iced coffee. Today
That's not breakfast.
That's not breakfast. Today I did eat something. I wanted to get an everything bagel with cream cheese at the coffee shop I was at. They were out of cream cheese, which to me, if you have bagels available, you can't be out of cream cheese. So they were out of cream cheese. So they said, do you want butter on it? And I said, no, I don't want butter on it. So I got a muffin instead. So I had a muffin this morning. I left my own devices. If I were at home and not having to leave the house, I'd probably have a piece of toast or 2, a bowl of cereal, something like that on a weekday.
I mean, I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it really is a utilitarian thing for me. And that is why I have no hesitation on fully eating leftover dinner.
Oh, yes, 100%.
For breakfast. I don't care. I'll have an egg roll and some teriyaki chicken or whatever a little bit for breakfast. Sure. Also, I'm getting up at 5:30, 5:45 with Bianca with the early word every morning to edit that story. And then I'm getting ready and all that stuff. So I'm probably, is it
I
really
don't like
breakfast?
Eating breakfast super early.
Yeah. It's 3 hours after I wake up or maybe 2 or something before I'm eating. So there's that. I don't know if that makes a difference.
All right. Let's go through some basic breakfast preferences, breakfast debates.
All right.
I'm going to pretend I'm a short order cook and I'm taking your order. Okay. How do you want your eggs, Holly?
I want them scrambled and they have to have cheese on them. I'm a child. It's fine.
Okay. I am not particular on how I want my eggs. I can go different ways. I really like poached eggs, but they're hard to do well at home. I try occasionally. I'm not that good at it. They're hard to do well at home, and depending on where I'm at, unless they specifically say we do poached eggs, I'm not going to bother you to poach me an egg.
Right.
I'm not going to go to, I'm sure they probably would poach me an egg at Bob's Spark Style Restaurant. I'm not asking for that.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not. So I tend to scramble eggs at home. I tend to go for an over medium kind of thing. If I'm at a diner kind of thing. That's sort of my order on the eggs. All right. Bacon or sausage?
This is tough. I feel like at this point in my life, it might be sausage, actually. It was crispy bacon for a long time. I'll go with sausage.
Well, that brings me to the sub-debates there. Bacon, crispy or chewy?
It's got to be crispy.
No.
Sorry.
I'm pretty moderate on that. I don't like it too crispy. I don't like it to taste like one big bacon bit.
Sure.
I want it to taste like meat,
Uh-huh.
But I want a nice mix of crisp and chewy in there. Sausage, link or patty?
I like a patty. Really, 100%. I'm just trying to put a breakfast sandwich together at all times. So
I have strong feelings on patty over link when it comes to sausage.
Yeah.
Oh wait, spicy or mild?
Natalie, who is not on the microphone and thinks you can hear her, asked spicy or mild. I'm a spicy guy all the way, but that's not usually an option.
Yeah, I mean, either one is great for me. Yeah. It kind of depends on what the rest of the situation is.
Bacon or sausage, to get back to the original question, I'll tend to go to sausage if I can get a patty. If it's a link, I'm going bacon. Toast or biscuit?
I love my toast, but if I'm eating out, I'm getting a biscuit for sure.
It really varies for me. It depends on how I'm feeling that day, where I'm at. I can go either way on that. Grits or hash browns or home fries?
Hash browns.
Hash browns over home fries.
Hash browns definitely over home fries.
Agreed.
And over grits, although I have had some good grits in my day.
Generally speaking, I don't always trust the grits are going to be good.
Right, you can't count on it.
I love a good diner-style hash brown.
Me
which
too.
Memphis is not great at. You can find like decent hash browns at Bob's, Barksdale. But that's one thing that, I lived in Minnesota for 5 years. The upper Midwest, I put the South over the upper Midwest in most food things that are native to the place. Mm-hmm. Like it's not even close. It's a route in favor of the South. But the Midwest does better diner. And so the diner hash browns, man, love it. Pancakes, waffles, or French toast?
I like pancakes. I do. I mean, I like a really good thick waffle if it's like super fresh and all that. But when do you get that? So I'll do a pancake. Order of pancakes for the table changed my life a few years ago in terms of like going to brunch. So
I have come back around to pancake. As I mentioned earlier, I make pancakes all the time now. I like my pancakes. I don't always like other people's pancakes. To me, it varies. If it's too dense and too thick, that can be a little much.
How do you make them fluffy?
I make them pretty fluffy. I like a little crispiness to them, right? You cook them in butter, get crisp them up a little bit. French toast is delicious, but I feel like a child ordering French toast a little bit. I feel like that's an occasional indulgence. That's not a regular thing.
I feel like I've had a couple of French toast moments that were really good, and then every time I've ordered it ever since, I'm like,
All right.
No.
Pancakes, chocolate chip, blueberry, or plain?
Oh, I really do like a plain pancake.
Yeah?
And I mean, I like those others. That's great. I really like a plain pancake. I don't even go crazy on the syrup. I'd rather have like fresh fruit or something like that. I think that because if you get it like crispy a little bit with the butter for the pancake, or it's obviously been made in a cast iron, then having like some fresh fruit or some canned peaches or whatever with that is really good combo to me.
My son likes the chocolate chip pancakes, so I make that a lot. I like blueberry pancakes if I have blueberries on hand. He's weird. He doesn't do syrup. He does chocolate chip pancakes and then he likes whipped cream on it.
Yeah.
I like syrup. I like real maple syrup. And I like some strawberry. I think the strawberry and the syrup works well together. So I don't overdo the syrup. A little bit of syrup, but with some diced strawberry. I like my pancakes that way.
I like some banana though. Banana and pancake. That's good.
But like a banana pecan. What about nuts in a pancake?
That's okay.
It's okay?
It's okay. Yeah.
Are bagels? You're a bagel person? Bagels or pastries?
I do like a bagel. Pastry's great, but I like a bagel. Yeah.
Okay. Toasted with cream cheese?
Yeah. Oh,
plain? Yeah. Everything?
Man, I'm an everything person. I mean, when I go to Otherlands, it's that everything bagel with that sun-dried tomato cream cheese and that dill whatever sauce. It's real. That's bagel heaven for me.
I feel like I've never been that much of a bagel person. I feel like Memphis is not great with bagels, which, whatever, we're not New York or whatever. I really like, and it's a recent discovery for me, the bagels that Blanchard's Cart makes, which are a different style of bagel than what I was used to. He calls it like a Montreal style bagel, and I've since gone to Montreal, and indeed it is different.
What is that like?
They're smaller, they're crunchier. And so there's more, the ratio of surface area to like inner area is a little more even. And so whatever flavoring you get is like it's a little bit more intense flavor-wise, a little bit crunchier.
The telecherry pepper.
I'm a fan of that. The telecherry pepper and whatever fancy salt he uses sometimes on his salt and pepper bagels, I quite like. But we've reached the end of the pod, and now I'm hungry, and neither of us have had lunch. So
I know.
We're about to go eat.
I'm really hungry.
So we're going to have lunch. We hope that you, especially if you're listening like live on the radio, if you're listening on the pod, you can be listening anytime. Maybe you're listening to this while you're eating breakfast. But if you listen to it on the radio, go get some lunch, and we'll talk to you next week.